like to make one of my favorite items of Christmas baking for you. It's called a caramel square, and it's shortbread cookie crust and then a layer of caramel, and then it's topped off with chocolate. So it's sort of like a Twix chocolate bar. So the first thing that you want to do is mix together 2.5 cups of flour and 1/2 cup of sugar in a fairly large mixing bowl. And to that we're going to add 1¼ cup of butter or margarine. And I've just sort of cut those into smaller pieces. And I'm going to take a pastry blender and just sort of work that butter into the flour, so just sort of by mashing it in. So that'll take a little bit. I'll come back to you when I have that done. All right, just finished, and at the very end I just sort of went in with my hands and did a final kind of going over. I'm now going to spread this into the bottom of a 9 by 13 pan, and this just gets pressed down and it goes into the oven to bake at 375 and for 20 minutes. Okay, so that's sort of what that layer is going to look like. After that goes into the oven, you're going to get started on the caramel layer. And the caramel layer is 1 cup of butter. It's going to be 1 cup of brown sugar. It is 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. And 4 tablespoons of corn syrup. And 4 tablespoons of corn syrup is equivalent to 1/4 cup. So I've got that measured out and ready to go as well. This is going to be brought to the boiling point and boil for 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes of boiling, we're going to beat it for 60 seconds. So I'll come back to you after this is baked and cooled, and I'll show you what the sauce is going to look like. Okay, I just wanted to show you how it was looking at this stage. It's all melted and it's getting really close to the boiling point. Need to be super careful that it doesn't burn. So lots and lots of stirring. And I just have my heat kind of on a medium-low setting. So we want it to come to a boiling point, but we gotta be super careful it doesn't burn. Okay, so it's boiled for 5 minutes, and now I'm just going to beat it for 60 seconds. Okay, the very top layer to this dessert is some melted chocolate. So I've got 2 cups of chocolate chips, and I put just 1.5 tablespoons or so of butter. Pop this in the microwave 30 seconds at a time until it's melted. My crust has cooled just a little bit, and I'm now going to put on my caramel topping. So that boiled for 5 minutes, beat it for 60 seconds, and I'm just putting it on top of the crust, spreading it out, and we'll just give it a few minutes to cool before we put that chocolate layer on. I'll be back once my chocolate is done. Okay, the chocolate, just 1 minute in the microwave. Sometimes it doesn't look like the chocolate chips are melted, but you start stirring it and they really do melt quite easily. So we're gonna let this caramel set up a little bit more before I add the chocolate to it. Okay, last step. The caramel has set up so I can touch it lightly and it's not sticky. I'm going to take my melted chocolate and just Spread that over the top of the caramel, and it will just set again to firm up the chocolate and to finish firming up the caramel. This little bit of butter that we added to the chocolate should prevent the chocolate from cracking when you go to slice it. Also doing the slicing before you refrigerate helps too, because after it's refrigerated, the chocolate can crack and it's not as easy to slice the dessert. Enjoy.